all right, it's time. Lockout needs to end. Now, we need to phase back into real life. I'm not saying everyone, just go into this. We're going to hold a second Super Bowl right now, except we're going to let, Michigan open up Ann Arbor. We're going to get 120,000 people in the same room. This is all fake news. No. This is not what I'm saying. I'm going to make the argument that now, today, May 25th, is the optimal time to start phasing out the lockdown, because this is the best time to deal with COVID-19 in the capacity we have. So let's just backtrack. Now, I've already made the arguments that, you keep these locked down. There's many doctors who are now saying, hey, we flatten the curve. I was all in favor of flattening the curve, okay? As the only person in Canada who was right at every single point of time, right? In January, you can look at the CBC videos I was saying, where everyone was saying, oh, no, there's very minimal risk to Canada. I said, no, there's actually quite a moderate risk to Canada because it's a disease. It can go anywhere. And they said, no, we don't need to shut down travel from Wuhan area. I'm like, yes, we do. And we did, right? If you remember, the government's original response to COVID-19 was, hey, go outside and lick a Chinese person. If you don't lick a Chinese person in Chinatown, you're racist. Justin Trudeau to John Tory were all, which is downtown Chinatown, licking everything they could find to prove how unracist they were. Okay, so when Trump wasn't taking it seriously, the Canadian government was more in denial, and we didn't shut down borders. And I was saying we need to. Okay, COVID-19 is not fake news. Okay, we were wrong about a lot of things, but it's hard to predict. I'm not going to slag the experts on getting, projections wrong. They're projections. It was 2% death rate, and it was 3.5% death rate. It looked more like 0.6. Twice as deadly as the flu, but about 6 times more infectious. Okay, this is what we're dealing with. Now, if we have we have two separate options of what is COVID-19 here. Okay, let's break it down. Either it is killing people by sort of a cytokine storm, which is the sort of faulty immune response. It's a new disease. We don't have the immune system to deal with it. The immune system goes crazy, doesn't know how to handle it, and that's what's killing all these people. Okay, that's if it's an immune deficiency, we can get a vaccine for that. Now, if it's not a cytokine storm, if it's sort of respiratory degradation, it's just a disease that sort of kills you, and that means if you get it, you don't really build that much immunities to it, which means, it's just disease that's going to be out there in the ether, right? Those are the two things. But today is May 25th. It's finally nice outside, which means this is the optimal time to end it in both scenarios. Okay, so if you want to say, no, we need to shelter in place until there's a vaccine. Well, that could be a year and a half, right? The loss of life. And I mean, our government's already borrowing. Our political parties are broke. They're already on wage subsidies. We have no more money left, okay? So the amount of deaths you're going to get from supply chain collapse, mental health, all that, much more. Remember, people aren't having elective surgeries, right? Hospitals have been set to just COVID. It was, to handle the peak, we need to flatten the curve. The curve's been flattened. Right? We need to restore other medical services, or getting a backlog in the medical services is going to kill more people in the long run, and even now in the short run, than sheltering in place. Okay, we flattened the curve. We can't keep going on like this because people will die if we keep doing this. This was supposed to be a somewhat temporary thing that I was in favor of if it was going to be a month and a half. Things have gone on further. Okay, we're gonna kill more people doing this, right? Than we will not doing this. I'm not saying everyone go outside, lick each other in the park, but we have to acknowledge it's nice out. People are going to start going back to the park. If you keep stringent lockdowns, if you're doing what Doug Ford says, if I hear people go outside, if your cases go up, then we're going to shut it back down. Well, cases don't manifest, right? You can open up tomorrow, then there could be an increase in cases, but that could have been from the behavior that was 10 days ago. So if you don't open up, one, people are going outside anyway. There's nothing on TV, which means people need to go outside and do something, right? And if you don't give them, if you give them ridiculous parameters to follow, they won't follow any of them, right? If you say you're not allowed to sit down outside, sitting down will give you $1,000 ticket. Well, then people are just going to say, well, screw it. If sitting down is $1,000 ticket, might as well go into the crowd to avoid a ticket, right? Think of the cost benefit analysis here, right? If there's a large people in Trinity Bellwoods and you just want to sit down, right? But sitting down, you can get $1,000 fine. You should probably go sit down in the crowd. Yes, you might get COVID-19, but you're like 25. So I'd rather get COVID-19 than have to pay $1,000 fine to the government, right? So the risk-reward factor under these lockdowns now rewards people who are younger to go into the crowd. Okay, so we need more realistic rules to sort of abide by. So we need to sort of tranche people back to work. I mean, there's no reason to be locked down in Saskatchewan. Toronto's a different story, right? I could take different rules for Toronto, even though I'm here. Saskatchewan, no. Saskatchewese, I don't know what the plural is. Saskatchewese, go run around. Be free. Run around. Frolic. Do what you want. So if there is a vaccine, right? Okay, so one, if there's no vaccine, right? If it's just respiratory degradation and we need to sort of fight through this and there's no vaccine coming, well, then this is the high ground, right? This is when weather is the best, right? Because it's nice outside, and it's going to be nice outside. We have the last week of May, then June, July, August, maybe a bit of September, right? People are less likely to die when it's warm outside if it's a respiratory illness, right? More people die in the flu, right? Flu season, it's more communicable in the winter, right? So if there is no disease, we might as well take this second wave bump, which is going to happen regardless of what we do. We might as well take the second bump and just be adults. Everyone needs to be adults. And okay, the political parties and the left or the right, whoever it is, whoever's in power or not in power, trying to score political points. There's always a second wave when things like this happen. Always. What I am saying, though, is this: if this is a battle we have to fight, which we do, we have to deal with the second wave. We have to fight this battle. We must choose the optimal ground to fight on it. May 25th is the high ground. Okay? It gives us the most amount of time of nice weather to fight this if there's no disease coming. Now, if there is some sort of immune response, one, okay, we can't wait another year for a vaccine. But again, if there is an immune response, and if an immunity can't help us here, well, then again, this is the high ground. We might as well deal with the second wave and build up an immunity at the safest time to be building immunity. We might as well have it in the summer where it's less likely to affect people, right? So either way you look at it, May 25th, right now, when it's nice out, and it's going to be nice for another few months, is the optimal time to deal with this. And just because more people are going to get sick when we loosen restrictions, that's bound to happen. Okay, I'm not saying start playing sports with thousands of people in the same arena. I'm not saying that. I'm saying is other sectors of the economy, other sectors of life, they have to be opened back up. We can't keep paying people to do nothing forever. Canada was broke before this. Now we're super duper broke. Okay? The irony of this is it's going to put everyone in debt to the Chinese who started this whole thing in the beginning with. So, there's a good reason for, one, the minimum amount of people who will die of COVID-19, it's a reality, will die if we open up and start phasing in today. That's just a reality. I know it might be politically unpopular and some people might slag you, but remember, all those expert politicians who were saying the exact opposite of what I was saying from January until now and how I was right every single time and they were wrong, listen, okay? It makes a lot of sense. This is the best time. The least amount of people will die of COVID-19 if we open up or start opening and phasing up right now. Least amount of people will die of economic side effects, supply chain collapse, and either way you look at it, right? Even if it's one of these two types, if it's the cytokine immune response, or if it's just standard disease, lung degradation, if it's either option, today is the best day for us to face this problem. And every day we keep going on this ridiculousness. One, people are just going to break lockdown rules willy-nilly and go to the park and do whatever, right? We need much more sensible rules. The situation has changed, which means our response needs to change. And all politicians from every side of the spectrum have to be adults, work together, and realize this. I have no faith in any one of them, in any country, in any political party, to do what I just said. Ugh, stupid Canada politics. Drive me crazy.